Hey guys, thanks for showing all the support on these videos. I've been seeing the comments, I've been seeing the views. Man, we are killing it right now. Don't forget to hit the sub button. We're trying to race for the 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thumbs up on the video would help too. Comments, I keep reading those. I try and skim through them the best I can. Let's get into it. Gamers, I miss Raiden, and I never thought I would say that because like that's what I built this channel off of, was just doing raid helps and teaching people how to play Destiny better, and like tell everybody before Edge of Fate launched, like, hey, everybody needs to play this game together, make groups, make friendships, go hang out in Discord, do raids together. And then Edge of Fate launched and it's just solo, and the raid is not rewarding at all in my opinion, because I just finished my 5 feet raid because I wanted to see like what the difficulty was the loot worth it, am I going to get spoiled with tier 4s, because obviously you can't get tier 5s from the normal raid 5 feet. And I'm just like, what's the point? Like, what's Bungie's kind of focus here with having us do this 5 feet raid where only a certain part of the community can do it or find people that are willing to do it? And is it worth it? So what I wanted to do here is just kind of go over some stuff that I learned in the 5 feet raid, talk about Bungie's upcoming news for the epic raid, what they're going to add, what we like, what we don't like, and kind of just figure out why Bungie's going this direction, because it's not like we're farming Master Vogue like we used to, or farm these old raids like we used to, because there was reasons to raid before Edge of Fate. You would see what featured raid was that week, and if there was something you needed, or maybe you wanted to help out your crew or your friends, you were doing it. But now it's just what's in the portal, or hey, who wants to go do the raid and hip fire outbreak the whole time, you know? And that's another thing. I don't know about you guys, but like I really do feel like it's a very boring meta. It's just use outbreak. We're not using Thunderlord no more because we don't want to make ammo for everybody, because you know it's kind of annoying. So just like outbreak and Titans on peacekeepers with SMGs, or you're just using the raid bow now. You know, the crossbow's insane. It doesn't feel like you're grinding the raid for something, because you know, to be honest, when you're sitting here beating these 5 feet or 4 feet, or I think a lot of people say that the comfortable farm is 3 feet, but even though like when I'm doing a raid and I'm spoiled now with getting tier 4s and tier 5s to drop all the time, and then I just see like a tier 2 drop in the raid or a tier 3, I'm just like, how is this even possible? And I think with what Bungie's system was, they wanted to give us a little tease, like, hey, here's a normal raid and here's these drops, but hey, in the epic raid we're going to spoil you even more, but there's a catch. I want to play this clip here. This was like the first loot that I got when we beat the 5 feet first encounter. This was Hobgoblin. I'm like, oh cool, there's so much stuff on the ground, I'm gonna get tons of loot. But then I realized something. I got a pair of tier 3 gauntlets and I can't pick up anything else. So if you're full on prisms, if you're full on shards, and you're full on spoils, you can't pick this stuff up, and it does not go to the postmaster. That's right, your spoils do not go to the postmaster anymore. Farming for spoils is just not cool anymore, because you're just like, hey, I need to go to the final boss, I need to turn in my spoils, and then I need to keep farming again. Like, it's always been a system of stacking our spoils up and stacking our materials up and being rewarded for doing that. But now Bungie doesn't want us stacking no materials. They don't want us having nothing in our postmaster. They don't want us to over prep, and it always goes back to that saying of Bungie just wants us to play more. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I really feel like this installment of Edge of Fate, and even with Ash and Iron, they really just want us to play the game more for less loot. You literally can't even get tier 5 Bushido, tier 5 Tech Sec, tier 5 Mint Retros unless you get lucky. They have to drop with primes. They I said this before Edge of Fate. I said Bungie's time gating tier 5s until Ash and Iron, and everyone was like, no, they're saying there's a chance to get tier 5s. In Ash and Iron drops, we're gonna get spoiled with those tier 5s. But like the fact that they're time gating the loot now, like it kind of kills the replayability of the raid. It's like, why do this now when there's an epic version coming and it's going to give us better loot? This is the information that they talked about on the Desert Perpetual. The Desert Perpetual raid was released to the world on July 19th. We wanted to deliver a unique experience that allowed for replayability, challenging encounters, and more customizable difficulty thanks to the new feat systems. But that was not all. I don't think they hit the mark on any of that. There wasn't replayability. People aren't like farming the raid, only a small community, you know, percentage. Challenging encounters, I mean, everything just falls over, and more customizable difficulty thanks to the new feat system. The feat system isn't bad. It's cool to add challenges, but like people don't want to go into the 4 or 5 feats because they're just like, it's not worth my time. I could just go sit and farm solo ops, or I could go farm Keplar's loot cave, and I don't have to struggle for gear, you know? That's where the Destiny community is right now. Is it worth my time to farm for some armor or guns that I'm not going to use, because that's how everybody feels right now. So they're saying get ready for the raid on September 20th, and there's going to be some changes. It says building on the original experience, the epic version introduces new challenges, rewards, and pursuits. Changes to the mechanics of each encounter will test the coordination of your fire team, complete them to earn new legendary weapons and new set bonuses on armor drops. So that means that the epic raid is going to have a different armor, which could be a better bonus. The bonus better, I mean, the normal set bonus is pretty good, but man, this epic set better be really good because it needs to be worth our time. And the new legendary weapons, new encounters. I think the mechanics of each encounter are going to be like Rite of the Nine. But with Rite of the Nine, you're kind of just like, hey, I know this dungeon mechanic, but they're going to make us shoot these, you know, like let's take Spire the Watcher. When you're in the Harpy encounter, you kind of had to do this stuff in order of the symbols. I think it's going to be something like that, but you never know. Bungie could throw a curveball and make it a lot harder. There's also going to be a new quest that further unravels the mysteries of space and time and unlocks the attunement system for the raid vendor, rewards for the catalyst for the raid's exotic weapon, which is the exotic rocket launcher. Unlocks an attunement system for the raid vendor is amazing because I feel like we need to have our loot attuned for sure. Ever since I've gotten spoiled with Keplar's loot cave being 450, I can just go hit the loot cave and target farm the armor that I need. So now we're going to have an attunement system being able to farm the raid for whichever pieces we're going for. I think that is a step in the right direction to encourage people to grind. But is it going to be worth it? Obviously, there's going to be a contest mode. There's going to be a world's first race. But then we get into this ugly thing, not swap. Now, I'm sure some of you are for not swap. Some of you are against it. I think the normal not swap would have been fine, but they added a little twist on this one that kind of made the community not happy. So this modifier will now reset your super and ability energy, special ammo, and heavy ammo, and as well remove all ammo and orbs on the ground when you change exotic or legendary armor or weapon ammo types. Yeah, that sentence right there just kills it. You got to think of it like this. What if you're in a situation where you're on the Wyvern? G-Miners actually said this on Twitter, and I thought it was a really good idea. If you're on the Wyvern encounter and you fall, you're the climber and you fall, and you switch your special weapon in your kinetic slot, maybe you're rocking the rocket sidearm, and you put on a missile guided grenade launcher, or you put the exotic grenade launcher on in the kinetic slot, and you use that to like bump yourself back up onto the platforms and maybe hit a grapple. That is just smart strategy. But with this change, you can't do that. So it's like Bungie doesn't want us to have no advantage. They want everybody to just stand there and be like, hey, one armor set, maybe you can swap to fonts, but that's it. They want you to have like an even playing field. And people forget we still have the illegal armor. I mean, I have a 200 super build with 170 weapons, and I could adjust that. I already have an advantage of those people that don't have that. So I really don't think that having not swap on the epic raid is a smart idea. This just kind of kills the vibe and just makes you not want to do it, to be honest, because it's just like, okay, well, Bungie doesn't want me to play the game my way. They want me to play their way. But then the second part really gets me. This modifier will also take effect when 3 or more feats are activated in the standard difficulty of the epic raid. So if you're trying to farm tier 5 raid armor like I want to in Ashen Iron, I'm forced to do this modifier. That's killing my fun and killing my vibe. And we're going back to the whole scenario, like I said in the beginning of the video. What happened to us having fun farming raids? It doesn't feel like fun anymore. So obviously they're going to do this in a future TWID. They're going to let us know about it. In the upcoming raid reward challenges, they do go over here in this section right here. They're telling you that they want you to be rewarded more. And you've added a chance of all gear earned during the full clear to drop up to +2 of your base tier. If you add feats, this increases your chances. So the way that I read this right is you still only have a chance to get tier 5 loot in the epic raid. I just don't understand that, because it says in the standard version you get tier 2, and in the epic version you get tier 3, no matter what current power level you are. And then in addition, this is where that sentence comes into play, you have to add feats to have a chance to get +2s, because if you're getting tier 3s in the epic raid, that means with feats on you have a chance to get the +2 higher, which would be a tier 5 piece. I just don't feel like the RNG should be there, because you should be rewarded. Players that are power leveling in Destiny 2 should be rewarded. If you're 450, you should be rewarded. In Ashen Iron, they said when you hit 500, everything's going to drop tier 5, but it's not. because even if you're 500, this doesn't state that. This states that you still have to fight for RNG. My whole argument is, if these armor sets are mid, what's stopping me from just going to Kevlar, sitting in the loot cave, getting all my stats tier 5, and getting all my builds, and then just not worrying about armor anymore? Why not just wait for Renegade? And if I'm thinking like that, so is the community. Why do they want to go do an epic raid and sit there and try and find people that are going to be willing to do tier 3 or 3 feats or higher in an epic raid and struggle? We're supposed to be enjoying replayability of the raid because the rest of the game is not replayable. Now in Ash and Iron, they did say that the conquests are going to be replayable. They're bringing back old plunder stuff and dungeons. Yeah, people are going to get tired of that stuff real quick. That's why I said in previous videos, they should just make more stuff in the game that we've already paid for, have modifiers on them so we can customize our gameplay and play whatever activity we want. But they don't want us to do that because they want us to play the way they want us to. Oh, we want you to do these activities and these activities only. Now, I know that was a lot of yapping, but here's where I learned about this. I had no clue because I haven't done this raid a lot. I've only done about 5, 6, 7 clears. But after we beat the 5 feet, I'm like, man, what loot am I gonna get for beating the final boss? What's gonna happen here? This is when we beat the tier 5. Can't pick nothing up. I did have a helmet sitting there. I did get a tier 4 helmet, but again, I can't pick up none of those materials because I'm full. Can't pick up the raid spoils because I'm full. And then I go talk to the vendor here, and I didn't even know about this. This is new for me. So these gear tier boosts up here, I had no clue what these were until now, so I kind of wanted to break them down. So what this is, it says tiering information. Obtain high tier gear by completing the Desert Perpetual raid with feats activated. Complete the boost conditions on the Simulant and Sybil to temporarily increase the tier of the purchasable raid gear. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Then the next one, it says complete the combined mastery triumphs completed. All gear earned in the Desert Perpetual raid will now drop +1 tier. So if that's activated, how come all my stuff isn't dropping tier 4? Because I have this activated and the one before, and I'm 450. I'm starting to scratch my head, why isn't this loot dropping? By the way, in a raid run, I think I got a tier 2 to drop. It was like a tier 2 or a tier 3. I was like, what? So the third one says full clear boost. You may purchase 1 previously acquired piece of tier 4 or lower gear. I didn't know what this means until chat told me, and I'll explain that in a second, but let's go over the last one. It says 3+ feet clear boost active. You may purchase 1 previously acquired piece of tier 4 or lower gear. Purchasing tier 4 gear will consume all boosts, while purchasing lower tier will only consume this one. What I do is I kind of just look over and I'm like, oh, every single piece has different gears, different tiers on it. I was kind of confused. As you see here, when I bought the submachine gun, it was a tier 3. Then I go to this page and there's tier 2s, and I'm like, why is there tier 2s here? But what I figured out is you just have to farm the raid more, and I'll go over that in just a second. So now I hover over this after I bought that piece, and it says 3+ feet clear boost inactive. Complete all encounters with 3 or more feats active to unlock the option to purchase 1 previously acquired piece of the higher tier. Encounters remaining. So you only get 1 good piece to buy from the vendor, and you have to do this all over again. See, stuff like this, again, this is my fault for not knowing this stuff off the rip, but it just makes it so it's like, man, they really just want you to replay and add those hours in the raid and keep doing the raid over and over and over to keep getting pieces of gear that you haven't got yet. If you have a tier 2 submachine gun, you can only get a tier 2 submachine gun. That's why you've seen some tier 2s on the second page. You have to actually have the tier 4 drop so you could keep buying it at tier 4. And when chat told me that, I'm like, dude, that just makes it so pointless. Knowing that I can't get tier 5 stuff, what's the point of me even farming this stuff? Now, hopefully they make the epic raid stuff more desirable. Hopefully those raid weapons and raid sets better, because if not, we're going to be back coming here trying to get the raid SMG from this and the raid armor at a chance to get it at tier 4. And I know some of you might be like, well, Clyde, weapons really don't matter and armor really don't matter. It doesn't need to be higher tiers. I agree. With weapons, you can get a tier 3 and just deal with it. But I like my armor at tier 5. Once you get spoiled with tier 5 armor, you want everything at tier 5. And what you saw there is that I had to go pick up those spoils after I spent something, because if you're full, they don't go to your postmaster. So now what I want to show you here is that crossbow on that second page was only 30 spoils. This is 40 spoils. So not only can you not stack up spoils on your account and send them to your postmaster, but look how expensive this is. Again, another choke point to encourage you to spend your spoils, but also run out because you're trying to farm so many roles that you want. If you buy 5 weapons, you're broke. And to go farm 20 spoils again, yes, you can go farm, you know, 3 feet encounters, but like if you do the 5 feet, obviously you're gonna get spoiled with more raid spoils. But to me, it's just, again, another way to just be like, hey guys, yes, it's more expensive, but we just want you to keep grinding the raid, and we don't care. We don't value your time, and it just encourages people to not have replayability in this raid. And I think the numbers have shown, I don't think a lot of people are even doing this raid right now. Like some people that care, they're doing it, but hopefully with the epic raid, they just bring the good loot. Because again, if people are just struggling with the epic raid, they're not going to care. People are just gonna be like, Clyde, I did it once, I'm good. I don't need that raid armor, I'm good. I don't need that raid set. Because we all know what Bungie's gonna do. And Renegades, probably all the armor sets are gonna be better. They're probably, because this was like the first time that they did armor sets, and the perks are kind of mid. Some of you like the tech sec with Outbreak, some of you like the raid set, some of you like, you know, the solstice set. You know, again, it's all cool, it's all fun, but it's what's the easy way. That's what Destiny players want, because grinding to 450 hasn't been fun, so people just are kind of burnt out of the replayability in the game right now. So that's why I wanted to talk about this stuff. I'm just worried about it. I wish Bungie could like really focus on what the players really want. And you know, this is a new raid, and for me, for the day one experience, this goes into a top 5 for me. I mean, I rank it at number 5 just because it's a top 5 raid of all time. I like the damage checks, I like the skill checks. Yes, the bugs were really bad, and we had to reset our instance a million times to beat the raid, and you know, game crashes and raid flags and you name it. There were, you know, mechanics not even working, but still, it was such a good raid. But then after contest went away, it's just like the replayability was just not there, and people were just so worried about leveling up, and no one was worried about going into the raid. And I just want the game back where we used to be. It's crazy that I just asked everybody to, you know, make friends and play with groups, and now we're just not doing that. And when the epic raid drops, I do want to start doing more raid helps. I'm actually going to do some raid helps this week. If you want to stop by, I'm going to be doing some normal runs. So, you know, try my best to kind of get the groove back for raiding, and you know, see if it can work. If not, if the community is just not having fun with it, we'll just hold off until the epic raid. I just wanted to go over some opinions and talk about how I feel about, you know, my experience getting this raid loot and what Bungie's told us about the epic raid. Thanks for watching these videos. We've been killing it on YouTube, trying to get to 200,000. Appreciate you guys taking your time to watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.